Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Indie Film Cafe. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody. I'm here with my co-host.
Presenza, otherwise known as the Moo Cow Moo.
All right, and we have a special guest here. She was here last year, last season for I think the last one you did was the Stupid Teenagers Must Die movie that if I'm correct. Well, the one with us for Indie Film Cafe.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So you are back. Please introduce yourself, ma'am.
Hello, hello. I'm Shannon Atkins.
All right,
Hey,
Shannon, we're very happy to have you back. Thank you so much. And but I'm sorry that you are here for this particular one. But I mean, I think I've given you pretty bad ones a lot. You're this is par for the course. But we're going to be talking about the 1996 John Russo film Santa Claus with claws, which
I
uh
really wish they were claws because they really weren't.
they were like a back scratcher, right? You
I
No,
know?
waited for it too. I was like, what are the
it's
claws?
it's a little garden prong is what it is.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
almost entirely harmless.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I think it even had little things on it so you can't hurt somebody with them.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll talk
But yeah,
about, but we'll get back and talk about all of that after we hear some
mood music.
music. And we're back. And we're here to talk about Santa Claus. Claus. I don't know how else
I
to.
I presume it's cold where you're at, Shannon, but I just walked in and it was really cold out there.
I'm freezing. Yes.
Yeah,
I'm
me,
freezing.
me too. I want to put
Well,
my blankie on.
she's in Maryland, so I'm pretty sure she's even more,
The
freezing than
land
us.
of Mary.
Uh,
Yep, we have snow on the ground.
Wow.
uh,
Snow on the crabs, huh?
we've been having snow in December, which we don't normally have. So that's a little shocking for Virginia. But hey, you know what? I guess it's fitting for
Well,
2025.
it's funny, it snowed and then it warmed up and went away, and then I thought just when I thought it was going to end, and then all of a sudden the temperature went batshit. It was freezing yesterday and
Hmm.
today.
Yep. Well, it's kind of fitting with our talk about Santa Claus because, it's that time of year. When this comes out, it'll be nice and warm and toasty because it'll be April when this comes out. So it should be nice and toasty when we listen to this again. But we are here. It's Christmas time around here right now, and I thought, I wanted to save this for like when we do a Christmas thing, but then I was like, there's another one I want to do for actual Christmas, so I will do this for today. Uh, this movie, yeah, it's pretty darn horrible. It is basically John Russo's almost porn movie. They kind of talk about that too in the movie, that like that company that they produce is like a little bit above a porno, kind of thing. So I'm like, well, at least they know,
Yeah, and
they're aware.
I totally forgot that I'd seen this before.
When did you see it?
I saw this from the video. I borrowed this from the video store. There's a little story behind this. I borrowed this from the video store years ago, and it wasn't because I wanted to watch this film. This movie was shot at the exact same time as Scream Queen Naked, whatever, Naked
Yeah,
Party.
Christmas.
That's the one that I wanted. That's the one because when I read about it, I don't know if it was Playboy or whatever, but they made a big thing about how it was Debbie Rochon doing this naked striptease thing. And I'm like, hello, I have been a massive, massive, massive crush on Debbie Rochon ever since I saw when I was in the theater and I watched Romeo and Juliet and saw her on the big screen, and when she came on with the tattoos all over her, I fell in love. And I've been ever since. She's been a massive crush of mine. So when I read that, I'm like, heck yeah.
Hmm.
And I went to the local video store and they did not have it, but they had this movie. And so I was like, okay, so I'll grab this. I didn't care. I just wanted to see Debbie Rochon. and I got about 25 minutes or so in. It was right around the time where the country western Jesus song came on. I'm like, okay, that's it. This movie's so bad. That's adding insult to injury, and I just turned it off and never looked at it again, and it left my memory.
And then you had to rewatch it for this show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the thing is, and what I did not know because I never found that other movie, but I did read later on that they said if you watched this movie, you pretty much watched at least half of the other one because they were shot at the same time, and he utilized most of that footage
That
in the Christmas movie.
That makes sense because a lot of them are just all they're doing is like poses and
Mm,
stuff. And then at one point, even Deborah Shawn says like "Have a Merry Christmas" or something. And so, like, and I think that's interesting because that was like one of the first times I've ever heard of like a somebody doing something like sort of in Story House, but also for like everybody else. So they like you could come home and actually have the movie that they were talking about in the movie. I mean, in a way, that's kind of cool, but like, what is it? Is it just people posing and being naked? Because like
yes,
that's kind of
boring.
boring. Like,
Yes,
yeah, I
it
mean,
is. And I'll be honest, if I had gotten the other film, I most likely would have been very disappointed and very boring with it because from what I've read, there's only about maybe 45 seconds to a minute added of what Debbie Rochon does from what you see in this movie. And that's really all I'm interested in. I couldn't give two hoots about the other girls. Not that they're not attractive, it's just that wasn't the reason I was going to see the movie in the first place. I was doing it because and I still am a huge Debbie Rochon fan. And let's face it, 1996, she was at the peak of her intense white hot beauty. And the other thing about this film that I liked, and there aren't a whole lot of things about this film that I like, but what I did like is that fact that you got to see a lot of Debbie Rochon and you got to see her
mm,
carry the film, and she is really, really good as an
she's the
actress.
best part of the movie.
She does
Um,
not get the dap that she deserves as an actress, in my opinion.
I I
She's more than a scream queen.
I will say this. I have the movie, right? I got it from Terror Vision, right? So when we were at Tidewater HorrorCon, Terror Vision was there and we bought different stuff. One of the things I bought was the Santa Claus because I was like, I've heard it's terrible. Let me buy it. So I bought it and I was like, okay, we'll do it, but we'll do it for like Tubi, right? Or whatever. We'll do it because I honestly am glad we did not all watch this together. Would have been a little awkward, throughout the whole time. Um,
No, I wouldn't have
but
cared.
on the bonus features is Scream Queen Naked Christmas Program.
Ah, there you
So
go.
there you go. If you buy the Blu-ray, you'll get that. But maybe I'll just show what it is to you sometime when we get.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm almost positive it got put out in at least VHS form, but I never found it. You
Yeah,
know?
well, there you go. It's available on the Blu-ray, but yeah. So Shannon, this is your first time watching it, right?
Yes, my first, my last.
What are you saying? This is not going to be your annual Christmas movie you pop in every year and
Um, I have so many opinions on this film. Like I just starting right off the bat with the first scene with the mother in the bed with the
Uncle
guy.
Joe.
Yeah, I mean you can see the disgust on her face that she does not want to be in that bed. She
Chubby
did not want to
claws, as
play
I
that
call him.
part. You can see it.
Yeah,
Chubby
that guy
Claus.
must have thrown in like $500.
Oh man, but yeah, no, that guy was there, and then it was pretty. And she was like, "You don't want me to be happy?" I'm like, "Are you? Are you happy? I don't know. Can't tell." It was
Yeah,
pretty.
and then to me the worst part was the quote unquote death scene where they get shot, and it's just you could tell it's like a little bit of lipstick that they put there. It's
Yeah.
just very cheap and crappy looking.
Yeah, it's like a couple dots, on their head or whatever. It was terrible.
And they're like,
Yeah. And then, then you get the two detectives talking, and one of them is the director, John
Hmm.
Russo. It never explains how Wayne got out of prison after shooting and murdering two people. Guess that doesn't really
That would
matter. I
be
mean,
too convenient.
it's just like I guess he was a juvenile, juvenile when he got there, but like,
I think
why
the cop says something along the line that they're going to believe his sob story that he was affected by something with his family and they'll probably let him go. So I'm assuming that's what ends up happening, but that's a little sloppy, if you ask me.
I'm and I mean the dude's a little very, very strange and weird. I love that line where Deborah Shawn says to him that you are weird. And at first he's like upset about that. And I'm like, dude, have you looked at yourself? Like you're weird, Like embrace it. Like nowadays, like maybe in the 90s, people didn't like that word and thought it was something, but nowadays people just are just, you
It
know,
kind of
Yeah, but
reminded me of a mashup of Maniac and what's the one with Anthony Perkins? Psycho.
psycho. Yeah. What were you gonna say, Shannon?
I feel like in that scene though, she was complimenting him because she's talking about how she's weird.
Right.
And I guess he just didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, and he didn't like it because I bet he has been called weird his whole life,
Well, he's
Right.
weird. I mean,
Yeah.
he's weird.
Yeah.
He's weird with a capital W, whereas she's weird with a small W.
She's not even weird. She
Not
seems
really.
very normal to me. Like her character, she just got in. She was a zoologist that happened to get into B movie. You know,
And
I
then
was
she
gonna say
was
porn, but like they're not porn.
soft porn.
Soft
Yeah.
porn, softcore porn. So she's stuff like early Jim Wynorski kind of things, I
I
guess.
mean, it's not on that, these things happen. They make more money, especially women. You can make more money doing that sort of thing. Look at OnlyFans today to see that.
Now, I will say what is really cool about the movie is that it was written, directed by John Russo, who did do Night of the Living Dead, and he did a bunch of other films and whatnot. But he had done, I think this was like his second film. I think his first film was Midnight, if I'm correct.
Yeah,
And
I
then
believe so.
this was like his second directing film. No, I'm wrong. His first film was called The Liberation of Cherry Janowski, aka The Booby
Oh,
Hatch.
that like early '70s thing.
Yeah, that's a 76 film. Then he did
I've
a movie
never
called
seen it. I think I have. Now that you mention it, I think I've heard of it. I've just never seen it.
he had done a movie called Midnight, which we won't get into that, but the third one is being made soon, and I'm not happy. But we'll talk about that another time. Heartstopper, and then he did Midnight too. So this wasn't his second film or any what thing. He had done a few other projects, which should have meant that he should have been able to, get better, I guess. I don't know. But it did have a lot
Yeah.
of Night of the Living Dead cast members, which was
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. Yep.
and they all did fantastic jobs, and I was very happy. Including both Coopers.
Yeah. Nick's
Um,
mother was one of them.
no, whose mother?
Debbie Sean's husband,
Yeah,
the one that was
Eric's
babysitting.
mother.
Yeah,
Yeah, Miss
Eric. That's
Quinn.
it.
And that was Marilyn Eastman,
Mm-hmm.
who's in please Shannon, you've seen Night of the Living Dead, right? The
Yes.
original.
She's
Yeah.
the mother that has the little kid that ends up munching.
Yeah, and I recognized everybody that was in it. And it's not like the acting and stuff was bad, but the sound was horrible. The sound quality was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
They put
Mm-hmm.
the wrong music in the wrong spots. Definitely.
Yeah. And then the was it Ken Hardman was the other Cooper. He was the father of the little girl in Night of the Living Dead. He was the producer guy.
Mm-hmm.
Um and then the what is it? Um, shoot. And then the other guy from Night of the Living Dead is Bill Heinzman. And what's funny is I actually met Bill Heinzman before he passed away in 2012. I met him in 2011, so a year before he passed, and I was at a Pittsburgh horror convention, and I was interviewing some people, right? Some they were doing a movie. Forgot what movie it was exactly, but they were promoting their film, and Bill Heinzman walks up dressed as a zombie. You know, like walks up just as a zombie, as the zombie from Night of the, the first zombie, and he played the first zombie in there, and I didn't recognize him, didn't like wasn't thinking, and the guy said you should interview this guy. And I was like, oh, the zombie. All right, hello, zombie. What's your name? He goes, Bill Heinzman, and I knew exactly who he was right when I heard that. I was like, the the producer of Night of the Living Dead, Bill Heinzman. He was like, "Yep, yeah, that's me." And I was like, "Oh, hi. Well, yeah, I am going to interview you." So I started asking him questions about Night of the Living Dead, and it was the best spontaneous interview I ever got. And I was so glad and happy I got to meet him before he passed and everything. And I'm so sad because I think Chris got rid of that footage, Chris Roll,
That's a
because
shame.
I don't, he never got, or he can't find it, because it's buried underneath a bunch of other stuff. I hope we can find it at some point because that was such a crazy experience, and everything. But yeah, so I was very happy to see he was in this. He produced, I believe, but he also did the camera work for the
Hmm.
movie, which I think camera work was okay. I mean, it was standard camera work stuff, so it
Yeah.
wasn't,
Yeah,
bad.
that wasn't the problem. I hate to say it, but the most of the problem I had was with the writing. And I'm sorry, John, but it just felt very sloppy. I really, you know me, Moody. I usually have a problem with movies where their whole point is to run around and kill attractive women. I just don't understand why I should be enjoying that. And it's not, and especially with this guy, because I guess he's supposed to elicit the feeling of horror or terror, but he doesn't. He just elicits anger and disgust and contempt from me, especially when he kills the one poor girl with the cat, because it's
Well,
just
Hmm.
she
so
didn't kill the cat.
unnecessary.
Was happy about that.
I know, but when you do that, I mean, it's one thing you go and you kill a person, but when you've seen her and all she's doing is feeding her cat and being nice to her cat, how you don't get around from that. It's almost like you've killed the cat yourself, you know? It's just bad.
Well, wasn't that scene like him like visioning Deborah Shawn or something? Because he kept calling her Raven the whole time. So for some reason he's getting.
That was the second one. The first one, this is right after he said, "Oh, you don't know, but I'm going to go and fix all of your mistakes, all of these awful people that you know, all these so-called friends of yours." And
Oh
that's the
well,
first one that she goes to.
but the cat one was the second one or whatever. The cat
Mm-mm,
one was
Cat one
the.
was the first one. The
Hmm?
second one was the one who was in there cleaning up the coffee cups and doing all that. The blonde girl.
I thought she was in her house and he was dressed up like Santa,
Yeah. Well, he
and
was
she had
dressed
a
up like
cat.
Santa when he goes to the studio and kills her.
Yeah, but no, he didn't dress up like Santa most of the time in that. And except, I mean, that was the
I
thing.
had
What? Oh, go ahead, Shannon.
I had a problem with that scene, the one where she's feeding the cat anyway, because it almost seemed like that in that scene, he was going to have one of these girls have a brain. She tells him at the door, I don't usually let strangers in. I don't usually let, and sounds like, she has half of a brain. And then, of course,
Oh, but it's Santa Claus.
they
Oh,
make her,
wow.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was badly written because, like, we kind of made a joke of that the other day. That was it was it Pod People when we did Pod People, which that will be something that later people will. Sorry, spoiler, we'll be doing Pod People in another episode coming up. But there was a bit where people were at the house or whatever, and they were asking, "Can I come in? Can I come in?" Like a bunch of guys saying, "Can I come inside the house?" and everything. And I was like, wasn't this after they've done Clockwork Orange, where they've everybody has seen people say that stuff, and they come in and they do nasty things to the people?
Mhm.
And so that was when my thought was in this movie was like, who I would never trust a man who said, even
Hmm.
if they're dressed up like Santa Claus, do
So
not let a man in. Like,
and especially a woman's generally not going to do that. So that was a
yeah,
little sloppy. Another point is, and it may seem small to you guys, but it's this sort of thing that sticks out to me. When he goes to get the Santa Claus suit, and it's in a box, he doesn't bother to see if it fits. He just buys it, and then he goes, "You think this will fit?" And the guy says, "Oh yeah, it'll fit,"
yeah,
and
that
that's
bothered
it.
me a little bit. Yeah,
And I'm like, no. Oh,
like,
and the way to fix that is like, what size is this? Oh, it's a large. Oh, then that should fit.
yeah.
Done.
It's almost reminds me that's was it in the room where they go up there, hi doggy, and he's like, oh, I didn't know it was you, and it's like this really fast thing because I think it's the same thing where they had like 5 seconds to get in and out of that scene quickly before they were like kicked
Yeah,
out of
it
the
feels like it was
store.
a pickup scene or something that was kind of tossed in later on to sort of explain where he got the suit from, and
Hmm.
not a lot of thought was really put behind it.
Well, they didn't really use the suit much, and that
They
is the
don't.
biggest issue I have with the movie,
Yeah.
is because I'm watching this movie and I'm like, I thought this was going to be like a ripoff of Silent Night, Deadly Night, because I thought, oh, he's going to be dressed up like Santa Claus and go, but he's got a claw, so that's like his, that's his thing, and then you don't see the Santa Claus outfit till he shows up at that one lady's house. And then after that, you barely see it. You might see like the Santa hat on him, but you don't even see the whole costume. You just see the
Hmm.
the mask, and half the time he takes the mask off. And I'm like, what's the point of the mask if you're gonna take your fucking mask off? Like, there's so much problems that I saw with it that I was just like, this all. You're right. A lot of this could be fixed in writing. A lot of this could have been fixed on set.
Hmm.
They could have just been like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. Let's go and fix this, But it was
And it's
sloppy.
a shame because, like I said, the family drama part was fine, and it gave Debbie Rashawn a different kind of character.
Hmm.
You don't usually get to see her to be sort of like the
Mother.
helpless. I won't say helpless, but she is kind of helpless. And yeah, she's a mother. That was really cool. I enjoyed seeing that. I just wish the story had been a little bit better with that because her talents are obviously on display. And I'm not talking about the striptease later. I'm talking about her acting talent. I thought she was really really good in this.
Yeah. Shannon, what did you think of her, like, because, like, in a way, she is a scream queen for real, that's what Debbie Rashawn is known for, but like, I don't know, and I can't say this for sure, but I think she might not be a mother for real.
No, I don't. She's
So
not.
I don't think she is. So like her playing that role, and for other people who actually are mothers and are scream queens, what do you think of how she did with that?
I thought she did really well. It's actually one of if we're going with writing, I thought that's the writing that was done best to portray her as an actual person, that
Hmm.
she has kids, she has a husband, she has this life. She's not just a sex object. So that I liked. That's what I kind of also liked with the other girl in the house feeding the cat, like showing that, okay, these girls are more than just this.
Right.
Mhm.
And then, but did we need another shower scene with that chick? No, not really. But we
No,
got one, and
you know how much I dislike those.
oh yeah. Well, after a while, they're just like ridiculous. It's like let's do a shower scene, and then have them just touch themselves like ways that they never would in their life and everything. And I'm just like kind of bored of it. But
Yeah.
then again, I mean that was a common trope in the 80s and
And
90s.
it's funny too because I thought the kids were kind of fun. I mean,
Yeah,
they
I like them.
they were good in most parts. There were a couple parts where they like when they were playing asleep that I just wasn't completely convinced.
You were convinced they
And
were sleeping?
there's some of the dialogue that when they said, I'm like, wait a minute, no kid says that. Like at one point where one of the kids says, "So, Mom, what do you think people are thinking about when you're out there taking your clothes off for these movies and everything?" I'm like, no kid's gonna say that. They're just gonna say, "Mommy, can I have some more hot chocolate?" You know what I mean? It was very weird.
I
Well,
go
the
ahead.
kids might say that with the influence that they're getting from the grandmother and the aunt.
That's true, and then
Mm-hmm.
they are an earshot a lot of times of what the two were saying, which I loved. Okay, Marilyn Eastman. I was so happy that she was in more than one scene. You know, she came back later, so at least she was in a couple scenes. You know what I mean? I probably a day shoot. You know, they probably had her for a day at like John's house or something. You know, or whatever. But it was her, and it was the other girl. I don't know the other girl's name off the top of my head, but I mean, she did
The
a wonderful
sister.
job. Yeah, the sister. They both did a great job. At first yelling at Debbie about, being a terrible, a terrible mom and wife too, and everything like that. At first I was like, oh man, that sucks that they're kind of like this, but they kind of redeem themselves later when they're like a lot nicer to the boyfriend about everything,
Well,
and
especially the sister when she says, "Hey, Raven might be selfish, but she's not going to do anything to harm her kids."
Hmm.
That was a
exactly.
great line. I was glad to see someone say that.
Because it wasn't like mean spirited,
Exactly.
like because that's how Debbie's character kind of, I think, viewed them as they were mean spirited, mean to her and everything like that. And it just goes to show she's talking about her behind her back and she's saying nice things, and
Hmm.
stuff. So there is that, and it kind of made her like more likable.
Right. So there's definitely good parts of the writing.
Good
It's just
writing. It's
very
just
uneven.
I think it's the
I didn't
murdering
mean
and
to
the
do that.
killing stuff. I think it's the killing stuff. I think John's good at writing zombies, but like zombies, all you gotta write is go grr, you know, and stuff. Like you don't really have to be, somebody trips and then the zombies attack, like it's really not that difficult. But with these things, you got and direction, man. If George Romero directed this, it'd be a whole different
Oh
story.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I don't think he would have even let the writing pass. He would have said, "Liz, we need to fix this up, clear this up." And I think that was the problem. I think John is a fantastic writer at times, and this kind of shows. I've never seen Midnight. I haven't seen anything else he's directed, so I can't say for a fact that he's not, that what about him as a director? I think he just kind of I don't know. Maybe he was getting up there, like where he's just like, I don't really care. Let's just make whatever we can make, you know?
I mean, I can't fault him as a director in this film necessarily. I thought he was okay. There are things that I certainly would have liked a little bit better, but I think that, like things like shot selection and stuff like that, I think it was all okay. To me, the issues I had were with the writing, which is unfortunate because that's mostly what he's known for.
Yeah, so it makes him look bad, and
Yeah,
which kind of
worse than he
sucks because,
should be,
yeah,
I guess.
were you familiar with them, Shannon, before this movie?
Yeah, my he needs a different killer. The killer was not scary. This guy was not scary whatsoever.
Or sympathetic.
He was just too goofy.
He was, and he's small. And I'm the whole time I'm looking at him when he's like trying to attack people, and I'm like, it's a garden tool. Like, I don't know why you're not fighting. Like,
Uh, my favorite bit is when the husband Eric, who I loved him by the way. He
Yeah, he
had
was
a great
good.
arc. He was
He
great.
was good.
But I loved how he like he usually the guy starts talking to him and he jumps out and goes, "You're insane." And I was like, "What the heck? Where did this come from?" Because like, don't jump at a guy who has a weapon at you. You don't do that unless you're trying to attack him or something. You don't do that because then the guy just jumped on him. I was just like, "Oh man, this is sad." Um, but and the only way that the dude could really attack people generally was behind, like he
Hmm.
did with the one guy, one
because he has a garden tool.
And you also notice he wore his bulletproof vest only on the night when he happened to get shot at.
Well, I don't know. Did he not wear it on the? I don't know if we was that shown like that his. I don't know because I think maybe he had it underneath him before. But yeah, it is very coincidental that like or whatever like that all of a sudden he has one on when when he gets shot at.
And where would he get that? A guy who murdered his parents?
He killed a cop and stole it from him.
That would have been nice to see. That would give his character a little depth.
Yeah.
See, I'm writing the movie for John,
Yeah.
I'm coming up with ideas. Um, see, that's the thing. Like people will be like, "Oh, nobody cares about." It's not about the big, tiny, tiny details. It's about the big picture.
Yeah, no,
Remember, that's
details
what Ed
matter.
Wood says.
Details matter.
Um, I, I, I don't know. That character, I did not like him.
I'm
Um,
I'm wondering, now that it's been what 30 years since that film, if John Russo might have done this a little differently, if he might go back at this and look at that and say, maybe I would write this a little differently, or I would do this a little differently. I'm willing to bet he probably would.
I mean, I think there's a commentary track, if I'm correct on that. There's an interview with him,
Hmm.
I think. No, is there? Yeah, there's an interview with Russo. Um there's interview with Deborah Shawn, Bob Michelucci. Um there's a 10th anniversary cut. I don't know how much different
Huh.
that is.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and then there's the original opening, which I wonder how different that is. We'll have to check that out at some point.
Yeah, yeah. So Shannon, I do have one question for you.
Okay.
We, John and I, have the nerdy straight white guy angle pretty well covered, so it's nice when we have some diversity and we have a woman's point of view. Um, to me, it seemed that at least in this film there were a variety of female roles that were not all stereotypical. And I do want to give him props for that. And I just wanted to know what you thought about that.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, I like that he showed two of them at least with actual lives and not just as sex objects. I really did appreciate that because I thought it was just going to be the straight. Because I mean, the first girl who they called her Laura, she all she did the whole time she was naked. The whole
Yeah.
entire time. She didn't have a life or anything. I mean, she gets in the shower, she gets out, she gets, she gets killed.
She
So I
exists
did
to be
appreciate that.
objectified. Yeah.
Um, I did have an issue with the whole double standard thing with it was not okay for her to be doing naked photos, but it was okay for the husband to be shooting naked
Mm-hmm.
women. That one kind of irritated me.
Well,
And then he
and
cheated on her too.
I agree with that, especially that it was like I think it was the women that said that too.
Yep.
Like it was
It
the
was the
women,
mother and the sister.
yeah, that were saying, "Oh, it's okay because he's behind the camera
Hmm.
and not in front." Which I don't like the double standard. I think that's stupid, but but that's from like nowadays. Back in the 90s, I think that really was a big thing, and that they were sort of showing that off actually. I like that. I like that there was actual talk about that,
Oh yeah.
that there were
Well,
people that really felt
there's
that way.
always someone willing and ready to shame sex workers, and this is a variety of sex work, even though it's not prostitution or anything like that. But it tends to all be lumped in the same way, and I don't know. I think attitudes towards that has changed, but I still see some of my friends who do this kind of work still getting shit from people, and it's ridiculous. It's just a job. It's like anything else. Just because you take off your clothes doesn't mean that you're any different than anybody else. It's just a job,
It
and
is, and I agree with you. I do feel that nowadays, because of the way everything is, more women are feeling more inclined to have to do something like that because you're guaranteed to get paid or get money. Let's just take the independent film scene in general.
Mm,
If I audition and I agree, hey, yeah, I'm going to take my clothes off, I'm going to get paid because you can't bring a woman
I'm
into a
not.
film and not pay her for being naked.
We'll pay you to put your clothes on,
But
Paul.
if
Yeah, yeah.
if I audition and I'm like, no, I don't want to take my clothes off. I don't agree to this. Then they're
Mhm.
probably going to look over me and they're going to bring somebody else in.
And it's a shame because I know that there are actresses who said, well, I thought about it, and certainly I know that it's an easy way to get fame, fortune, money, and all that. But
Mm.
on the other hand, they also say, well, it's going to be something that follows me later on. It's something my family's going to see. It's something that if I have kids, they're going to see.
They brought that up in this movie, though.
And my answer to that is, so what?
Um,
Why
there,
is that shameful? There's no shame in that game. I'm sorry.
It's not shameful, but I mean, I have a 21-year-old son that I don't want him to see me naked on screen or in a magazine or his
Mhm.
friends.
right. Because that's even more awkward, you know? Like if your son's friends come over and they're like, "Oh, I saw you in that horror film," and right, and you know which one it is, and you know what you were, and that's like that's that
Yeah.
that icky feeling of like, "Oh
People are
God,
allowed
you."
to have pasts, though. They're allowed to do
Oh,
things that they
oh,
want to do.
absolutely. If that's what they want to do, and if they feel comfortable with it, some people won't, and then those people won't do it. But there
Hmm.
are some people like, Jessa, if she has kids at some point, she ain't gonna, like change the ways that she was, and that's perfectly fine. And and that is something that has, I mean, especially like if you're in a relationship with somebody and they've done these things, right? You know, you get into conversation about that. Are you going to continue doing those things? Or are you not going to, you're going to stop doing those things? Well, if I'm not okay with you doing those things, then we got to break up, and those are the honest, you have to be honest with yourself and have these kind of discussions. But that's the
I
thing.
mean,
That's
yeah, and everyone's going to be different because, as
exactly.
far as I'm concerned, it's their life. If that's what they want to do, as long as they're happy doing it, they're free to do whatever it is they can do. As long as they're not harming themselves or anybody else, it ain't my place to tell them what they can and cannot do.
Oh,
And
Nor would
exactly.
I shame them for it.
Absolutely. And I mean, I have so many friends that do like have OnlyFans and all that stuff, and I don't look down at them. I don't think anything different of them. My point
Right.
is, I feel like more female actresses are feeling like if they don't do this, then they're not going to get, they're not going to get paid.
And
yeah,
time is of the essence. Let's make that clear too. It's the kind of thing that a woman generally can take advantage of when they're young, and
right.
Yeah.
the clock is a ticking. That opportunity generally will not be there for you later on. So if you're going to do it, you might as well do it at the time when you can take best advantage of it. Hell, I would have if I had been born female. I just know that as a male, those opportunities are just not really there.
Well, no, but that's not true. It's
Not
depending
true.
Not to
on
the same
the
level.
no, but like uh how many David Dakota movies do we watch where they take the guys take their shirts off the whole time? It can be very demeaning for
Nobody
the
wants that from me.
but what I'm saying is like, but there are certain people. And I hate to say it, there are certain girls who probably feel the same way like you do, where they're like, I don't want to take my stuff off because nobody wants to see that or something like that. And I mean, they just feel that way. It's just a matter of like, are you comfortable with it? And then there's some
Yeah.
girls who are just like, fuck it. I don't care what anybody says. I'm gonna do it. If I'm gonna get paid to do it, I'm gonna do it. And you know what? Good for
Yeah. And
everybody.
this is
You know?
all taking place in a society that has been very comfortable with objectifying women all along anyway.
Right.
So, and it's weird because we're so very, very, so very, very happy to enjoy that, but also condemn the people involved in it at the same time, and it's
Hmm.
ridiculous. I don't understand that.
It is. It's a double standard. You will
It's a
go and you'll pay and
terrible
you'll
double
watch the
standard.
movie, and then afterwards you will criticize the women for doing the movie. I
Hmm.
I don't understand that. That's why I don't want to criticize anybody for this film, like whatsoever. None of the girls being naked or anything. I mean, they're all gorgeous, beautiful. They did their roles. They played their parts very well. I
Yep.
have a problem with the writing.
Yeah.
Right, because for the most part, a lot of them didn't get a lot of character development, and I know there's too many of them to really do that. But at least Debbie Rashawn's character, I thought, was given plenty to deal with, and some of the other minor characters were as well. And since she's the lead, I'm happy to see that she was able to at least be given a three-dimensional role.
Yeah. And all in all, I was okay with the with whatever because whoever did it, they signed up. I never heard anything bad about the film, like, they didn't pay the actors or something like that. I'm pretty sure John Russo's on the up and up, and he did what he set out to do, and everybody did their part. Once again, it is the writing that is the problem. That is, and it isn't the writing about uh the sex and nudity. That was no problem with it because it just that comes with the territory of horror films. I did feel awkward sending this to Shannon, having not seen it like fully or whatever, and then watching it going, "Oh God, there's another
That's a
cute thing."
familiar thing I've
Yeah.
heard coming
Well,
from
it's
Mr.
it's
Moody.
even worse when you do it to a kid
Yeah, I was about
or
to say, at
something.
least you're not 14.
Yeah, we had a movie that we were doing, and my friend is G. Larry Butler, and his daughter was joining us and 14-year-old daughter at the time was joining us, me and them, and I grabbed a movie for to watch and do a review of, had some nudity and sex in it, and the first couple scenes I was like,
Oopsie
okay, let's
doopsie.
you know what? I can go get something else. And both of them looked at me and go, "No, I'm fine." Right? She was old enough to, I mean, she wasn't old enough to watch it technically, but like she had a parent and guardian there. So,
Getting sent to
uh,
jail these days, man. Somebody
uh
finds out.
yeah, it was awkward. But I did not know that had that in there. So I was like,
Which
awkward.
in itself is a double standard because shit, 14-year-olds know a lot more about that kind of shit than I did when I was 14 and all I cared about was baseball cards. It's a very different world
It
right
is.
now.
Yeah. And the internet has kind of opened up the eyes to a lot more things that it shouldn't, and that's very sad.
Yeah, and you can't uncork that bottle. It's already done. So, you know, all you can do is minimize the damage and try not to let people go nuts with it. You know.
Right.
But
Um,
and the other thing I did want to point out that I did like is there are definitely a couple points where during the photographic scenes, which were kind of dull in and of themselves, but at least they show several times where the crew was putting a lid on any kind of monkey business that might have come up. Like there was one character where he was like, "Oh, do I get to go then?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, no."
yeah,
Because most of the time that does not happen. That's just one of those tropes that gets thrown around out there and makes that sort of thing seem sleazier than it actually is. You know what I mean?
but it does happen a
It
lot,
does
so
happen, but
it
not to the
does.
extent that you see in the film business.
Right. So also I want to bring this up, Shannon, to you because you're a B movie actress. You've acted in a few horror films yourself and everything like that. The the so I do believe like some scream queens out there, especially like like Danielle Harris and a few other people have been stalked and preyed upon by fans, or whatever, fans who take it
A
a little
fan.
bit too far. What did you think about that for this storyline?
That it made a lot of sense. I mean,
Right.
it's dangerous when you're doing anything like that anyway.
Yeah.
But social media and stuff nowadays has made it a lot worse. It has made you a lot more accessible to people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've talked about it before, like with my film Sibylla 6. It's all personal experiences, not just from me, but from the other women that are in the film, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
think as a topic, I think that it was a good thing to bring up in this film. It's just, unfortunately, you need to have tension and you need to have horror, and it really kind of lacked in both.
I had this I follow on Instagram and YouTube a country singer, a female country singer, and she has this guy on every single one of her videos comment, things, and they started getting creepy to the point where like he's like, this is the last time I'm talking to you, blah blah blah, or you didn't do this for me, blah blah blah. And we don't owe any because they're celebrities. Like I hate to say like, whatever you want to call it, but like when they get to like this national level where people know who they are, they're celebrities. And celebrities aren't going to respond to you, you know? They
Mhm.
just don't have time, you know. Uh so
And it's
she
interesting because we live in a world where there's an intermediary step that didn't used to be. An influencer isn't quite a celebrity, but they're not quite like you and I. They're like a step in between. Those are the people who you tend to be able to have conversations with. But generally, the same rules apply. You can't just show up at their house, or you can't just send them private stuff. And you know what I mean? There's a line you cannot cross with them as well.
Well, when I would talk to Lolo online, but I would do it in the comments section. And sometimes she might reply like, "Oh, that's a good idea," or something like that, right? That makes my day. I'm not gonna lie, that makes my day.
Sure.
But I'm a normal fan. Like I treat everything. I did get to meet her. I got a hug by her. I know you're jealous, Paul, but 'cause you think she's adorable,
She is.
and she is.
She's a good singer.
And she gets singing, she's sweet. And that's the thing. But I'm a normal fan. I don't treat anything, I do pay $1 extra so I could chat with her, like, or see what she's up to more, and stuff. And that's what they want us to do.
Right.
But they do not want us to go and like start freaking out on them and sounding like crazy talk,
Or
because
just
that's
like saying,
scary.
"Oh, you're hot," or blah 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 blah, all
Oh
that
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Now,
Well, Jonathan,
usually,
you've seen comments on my own
Mhm.
page. You've seen
uh,
people say stuff.
Right.
see,
And
So,
usually when I go on to someone that
gross.
I follow or like, I usually do my whole goofy cow shtick, and I make little cow jokes. I make little, just to sort of show that I'm just a goofy guy,
Harmless guy. And
harmless. You've got nothing to worry about, dad joke kind of
are
person.
you guys friends on Facebook?
yeah.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
so.
I think so.
Hmm.
Okay, good. But
I'm not
yeah,
on there as much anymore, but
yeah, well, you're on there posting like your little posts, but the thing is, yeah, with your stuff, Shannon, like some people might say creepy, gross shit and stuff. People need to like people need to understand that like everything that pops in your brain does not need to go onto somebody's comments and stuff. And usually think before you say something, unless you want to be blocked or you want to be,
well,
kind of
and that's the
ridiculed.
other big difference between then and now is the fact that if you went up to one of these celebrities or even an influencer back in the day, and I'm talking 15, 20 years ago, and you said that kind of shit, you
In
would
person, yeah.
in person, you would feel the consequences of it. Today, you could say whatever you want, and there's very, very little consequence, and people do shit like that to get away with it.
I
Hmm.
I found out there is a thing where people have a kink to being blocked on Facebook. Isn't that weird?
That
Like,
is weird.
and this one girl I know, she's a dom. She was like, she knew this guy wanted to like, you know, get her to block him, and she was like, "You have to pay for me to block you," and
That's
stuff.
funny.
And he wouldn't do it. And then he kept bothering her, and until she just called him out on it and everything. But like, she was like, "If you want me to do it, I'm not going to do it. But if you pay me to do it, I'll do it," and stuff.
And the other thing too, the internet has, another kind of person that didn't really exist as we know it are the trolls. There are people who don't even bother to follow people because they like them. They just get on there just to talk shit or just to shit post, just to say stupid, offensive things, just because they get off on it. It's weird.
Or the alpha males. I hate these guys. These guys, I talked about this on one of
Incels.
my page. Yeah, the incels who I will say I say something nice to Shannon, to something complimentary.
Cook.
Yeah, then all of a sudden they're like, you just want to fuck her. And I'm like, where did that come from? Like, oh, I know she's dating somebody or something, like I don't like not interested. Like that's not why I'm saying this stuff. I'm saying this stuff to be kind and nice, which those kind of guys view as weak, I guess, or something, or whatever.
Beta is what they'll
Yeah,
generally call it.
which
It's the
I'm
Andrew
not.
Tate horse shit.
Yeah, this bullshit. So, but that's the problem that we're at right now. So there's these kind of people online, and this movie kind of in a way kind of sparked my thought about that is like
Hmm.
thank God the internet didn't exist. It would be a whole different story if they remade this now, because it would
Right.
just literally be more about somebody online that fell in love with a girl. At least in this movie, he was like her next door neighbor. Now, did he move in next door? Like, see, there's things that they could have explored. Like, did he
Hmm.
move in
Right.
next
Right.
door
Right.
because she was like this big star that he liked? Or was it because they just happened to live next door and he found out what she did,
And
for a living?
obviously, he took it a step further than that guy in that other movie that you showed me that I couldn't stand, where the guy's like decides that he's going to fall in love or make the girl fall in love with her, and he sits in her yard and refuses to leave and
He,
just like be an asshole
have you seen that movie, Shannon? It's called 8 Days a
8
Week.
days a week.
I have not seen that.
Oh man. So I remember as a kid when it come out like on HBO or something, and I'll be able to see it, whatever. It was it was funny and whatever. Now it's just gross and yeah, like we were watching it, and then Paul was like, "You're just getting me back for all the movies all the crap I showed you, right?" And I was like, "I wasn't planning to, but hey, if it's working, because I wasn't, but because originally I thought, oh, it's a good movie, and I was like thinking about it. We did a review of it, and I was like, it's kind of gross. Like a guy is told by his, I guess, grandpa that what his grandpa did was wait outside his grandma's like place and wait until she came out to
Don't take no for an answer.
yeah, yeah, basically I will wait here until you accept my love kind of thing. Back then it might have been kind of cute, I don't know, depends, but now it's stalkery and gross with the dude literally staying on somebody's lawn for like a summer, and stuff, and watching and just waiting for her to
And all
fall
I
in
kept
love with
thinking
him.
was, if I were the girl, I'd have been out there first with bear mace in the face, and secondly, a kick in the nards if he still was hanging out.
But it's from the
Yeah, you
same. Well,
can't do stuff like that nowadays. Most women have guns.
yeah, most women have
Good.
guns. It's definitely a different time. And plus, so is Carrie Russell, who was the girl,
That's
and it
right.
made absolute no sense because I don't even think he told her he loved her originally or anything. And so that movie was like so weird.
And of course, it worked because it's a guy who wrote and directed it.
Yeah, if it were real life, she would have said, "Dude, I've got a boyfriend," and
And she
you know,
did.
she did. She wasn't lying, and he was like, "What the hell is this guy doing?" They're like, "Oh, it's harmless. He's just sitting in our yard." And the father and the mother of the girl were helping him out at first, and stuff like that. I'm like, what is wrong with this whole situation? Like, this is not.
So it reminded me of like a guy who has absolutely no idea how to have a respectful, normal relationship with a woman. And yeah, you can be a fan, a super fan, you can fall in love with one, but there are lines you do not cross.
Well, and here's the worst part, is he was friends with her.
Hmm.
Other than, and she was already married. I'm pretty sure by the time that they had already met. It's not like he was friends and then, you know, then she got married or something. It's like she was married and he knew where he stood in that, right? And then he would buy like, what is it, the 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 heads and stuff of her, and he would talk to
Hmm.
her and
Hmm.
all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, all you gotta do is throw it out on the table. Say, dude, I have loved you, I've had a crush on you since I first saw you in that movie, whatever, that Scream Queen movie that you did. And if you are having problems with your husband, you're thinking about leaving him, please think about me. And then if she said, I don't really think of you like that, you go, damn, I'm sorry. Well, okay. I'm moving on to somebody else. That's the healthy way to do it. The creepy, weird shit is never tell her and keep little things that look like her and talk to them the
Or
whole
not take
time.
no for an answer.
He didn't.
Yeah,
Is
the
that,
guys that are like this, they're literally programmed different. Because
Hmm.
I mean, and the thing about it is that a lot of times that's how it happens. Is a female has this male friend, and they've been friends for so long, and then they want to take it to another level, and it gets weird. A lot of people don't like being friend zoned, is what they call it.
I will throw this out though. There are some women who play that whole game of, oh, I say no, but I really mean yes because I want you to chase me and I want you to do things and I'm really manipulating you. And so a lot of guys do get mixed signals. It's just you got to sit there and think about it for a while before you react. You know what I mean?
And
You can't just.
if you're really smart about it, if they're giving you mixed signals, that means
That's
that
a
should take
problem.
take that as like this isn't going to work out.
That's a red flag.
Yeah. So if you're getting mixed signals, move on.
I
It's really not that hard.
nope.
Um, my problem, speaking from single male, it's just there's just nobody around town that I'm interested in, right? So I go looking for other places around and still nothing in Virginia that I seem to like that seem to connect with me yet. Doesn't mean that maybe somewhere I'll run into somebody I like or whatever or online, or whatever, but like just nobody yet has got me where I'm like, oh my God, I think this is gonna work. And I
It's
know the
nice that
difference
Moody still
between
has hope.
I do. I hope I have hope,
I don't.
Well, I mean, you say you don't have hope,
I
you know.
don't.
And that's the problem. You gotta have more positivity in your life, Paul.
Hope is a
There's
mirage.
another cow
It,
loving girl out there for you.
hope leads you to drink in a mirage that's not there, and you end up drinking sand and choking to death.
Jesus, you're so I can't even describe you right now, man. You're so negative.
It
It's
is
just
what it is, man.
you're gone. You're too far gone. Me, yeah, I do still have. I'm only 43. I'm almost 44, but I'm hoping by 45. You know,
That means you're old, man. Six
uh,
seven, 6'7".
I'm not that old yet. You know. All right. Anyway, I think we pretty much talked this down. Unless is there anything else that we left out? Is there a scene or a character that you guys want to make sure we talked about? I don't think so. I think pretty much wraps it up. What do you think, Shannon?
No, I think we talked about it all. There's not a whole lot to talk about. That's the
I
thing.
mean, it gets to be like a thing where it's sort of repetitious. It's this, then
I would have
this,
liked a more backstory on the weapon. Why was
Yeah,
that your weapon of choice?
because
yeah.
it looked like enough like a claw, you know? I guess I don't know. I would like to hear why they chose yeah, or why he chose it. I mean, maybe that's all he
Because it's a
had.
dollar at the Dollar Tree. That's why.
Did they have Dollar Trees back in '96?
No, but that's the general thing. It's cheap.
They had a 1 cent stores. Then now it's gone to $1.25. I saw $6 stuff at the Dollar Tree. I'm like, what in the world is going on here? It's not a
They
dollar
used to have
anymore.
five and dimes. I'm old enough to remember those as a kid being around still.
Is that literally where it's $5 or
Well, they
five
no 5 cents and
cents and
quarter back in the day. They weren't that when I was a kid, but they were still considered cheap, like Woolworths and a few other places that you could go there and get relatively cheap stuff. But
I
those are
remember
all gone
Woolworth.
now.
I don't think I ever really went to Woolworth. Went to Roses. Do you guys remember Roses?
They're
You
still
know,
here.
are they
Oh yeah,
in Virginia?
oh yeah.
Where?
There's one in Newport News, and I
Oh,
think there's one in Hampton too.
I'm gonna have to go because that used to be my store, man. I don't know
I
what they
never knew
have
it
in
was.
there.
Like we didn't have them in Delaware,
I
so
don't know.
I know what they
There,
were.
yeah, I gotta go check that out because that was where I used to go get my video games from. As a kid, I would bug my dad into getting us Nintendo games there. All right, well, that about wraps it up for that. So we're gonna go into our stinkometer, which is a 1 to 10 scale, one being very, very good, 10 being very, very stinky. We could do a 5.5 or so if you're feeling like you need to. Now, usually if it's a 10, that means that it's got a lot of stink to it. Like you can't really hear anything, you can't really see anything. It's very stinky and problematic.
Big old cow pie.
Yes. So with that being said, Paul, you go first.
Well, Yeah, I definitely disliked this movie a lot the very first time I watched it, and I
Yeah,
couldn't
20
get
minutes
through it,
in.
and I just forgot about it. I think I liked it a little bit better now, having sat through it. And of course, I finally got to the part that I really wanted, which was getting to see, um, Debbie Rashan and her little thingy. So that was nice to finally have seen that. However, it's not really worth going through the rest of the film in order to see that.
Skip to the end.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like I really wanted to fast forward, but I couldn't do that because I
Yep.
had to watch the film. Um, Having said that, I definitely have seen a lot worse films than this.
Yes.
It definitely has its level of stink, though. I'm going to probably end up going with an 8.5.
Okay. What about you, Miss Shannon?
Ugh. The acting, like I said, the acting overall, it wasn't bad.
Mm.
I had a problem with the sound. The sound was horrible in many different spots. Wasn't a huge fan of the music. I thought some of the music was good, but I thought that they misplaced it.
Mm-hmm.
They used the wrong music for the wrong scenes.
It was just awkward. Like bad, badmusic.com. Like weird, weirdmusic.com is terrible. But what would you say?
I'm gonna say probably about an 8.5 too. I was gonna say 9, but mm.
It's interesting in that that was going to be mine too. So all of us pretty much went the same direction. I think it's because we've all seen some pretty stinky movies in our life that we sort of know we have seen worse. I mean, Neil
Mm-hmm.
Breen comes to mind. David the Rock Nelson comes to mind. Hate to say it, sometimes even Donald Farmer comes to mind. I love him to death, but even his movies are pretty worse than this. I That's the thing I think. I think it's an 8.5 because I think John Russo's better than this.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
I think that's the sad part. Is like I think as you said, Paul, I think you thought it was sloppy. Some of the death scenes were terrible. The way that he was like clawing people was just awful. It did not look real. Um, the sound was terrible when they did a lot of ADR that sounded
Hmm.
like ADR. I mean, there would be like times where like walking, and apparently, I guess it would be too windy or something, so they can't do the sound. So they do the ADR, and all of a sudden, the people's like all of a sudden they're really loud because it's recorded differently, and everything. So I just think this movie could have been a so lot better had, I don't know, maybe some more time. And maybe that anniversary cut is better. Oh,
It's possible.
I would hope so. But I don't know how much he would change. I mean,
I like to think that 30 years later he might have looked at this and found a few tweaks that he would have done better. And of course, the other thing is it probably would be a much different movie if there was a lot more money tossed into it too.
right.
Money's the great equalizer. You can definitely buy more time on set to have people in just to rehearse more, get more comfortable with their characters. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Would
Absolutely.
be very useful. Although, again, usually my biggest issue with a lot of these kinds of movies is the fact that it's not well written and the writing is the cheapest part. It's the free part. So that's the one you really gotta make sure
Hmm.
you have fixed before you start.
Yeah, you gotta have somebody tell you, this doesn't make any sense, John. Go back and fix it, or whatever. Or give somebody some kind of cool backstory. You like nobody really had a cool backstory.
Nobody did.
No, I mean we didn't know anything about any of these guys except for what were being sort of shown during it. I mean, there's times I wanted more stuff with the mom and the sister, and things like that because they were interesting, but we really didn't get enough of that. I mean, we got enough where I guess it worked, but like,
Oh, one other thing did annoy me. I'm going to bring this up. When the guy comes back home and he's playing with the dog, and the poor dog is chained to a tree outside in the winter. I'm like, oh, poor puppy, it's cold. How could you do
um,
that?
I don't know. You never see the dog inside either. So I'm wondering if the dog was not allowed to actually be in that house or whatever. And so, but then
I
I'm
mean,
like, then why put a dog in
you
the
don't
whole
have a
thing?
pet then. You have a slave.
I don't know. It's terrible.
It's awful.
But I don't know what the whole thing was about. I love dogs, so I love dogs and I love cats. So I was so glad no dogs or cats were harmed in the making of this movie. When they're leaving, they're in the park and they're walking away from like swinging or whatever at the end of the movie, and the dudes in the little sling and everything. They call the dog, but the dog never comes. And I'm like thinking, was that dog really like a part of this whole thing? Like, like the dog like ran away. Like was like, hey, I'm not part of this movie.
And bad enough that the one nice girl died, but at least John Russo knew not to kill the cat. He was wise enough
Hmm.
not to do that too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you don't kill the cat. He was nice to the cat. He liked the cat, and then the cat he let when he attacked the woman, the cat got dropped and ran away. So I was happy about that. Go run, kitty.
Yeah,
You
he was
know.
drugging children several times, but
Yeah.
and it was funny because it was the same scene that they used the two times where the kids are like,
I know.
"Ugh."
Well, I mean, okay, so the first time he put them in the beds right before she got home or whatever. Why didn't he do that the second time? Why didn't he just leave them out?
Because it's more of a shock for their husband to come home and find them like
That's what
that.
I'm saying. I think that was it. But
Yep.
in real life, like or story life, it she wouldn't have done that. You know, he only did that because now the husband comes home and finds them, and then now he knows to go. It helps the story
Right.
continue on that, but it's a shitty way to do it and stuff. So, um, and yeah, the kids like one kid's like put her leg down. It was so awful. I was like,
But it's a kid. I mean,
I,
it's
oh, I'm not mad
pretend.
at the kid. I'm mad at
Pretend
the
you're asleep.
director. I'm not mad. I'm mad at the director for not going. Okay, let's move you over here a little bit. Like let's make this a
I mean,
little bit
shit.
more believable.
If it were me, I'd probably have one of the kids sitting upside down because you know how kids are. They just fall asleep in any weird kind of
Yeah.
way.
That's true. That's true. So. Well, thank you so much, Shannon. This was wonderful having you on again. You
Yeah.
know,
Yay.
I know like, you and I watched this today. I don't know, Paul, did you watch it yesterday, I'm guessing?
Half yesterday, half today. I'm just slammed lately. I can't really put an hour and a half time set aside for anything right now.
Yeah. Oh, I totally get it. And you're lucky because your Tubi actually doesn't have commercials anymore, right?
Right. Well, the one
And
at work does, so I had to put up with that when I finished it off today.
well, there you go. I don't know. I was happy to watch it today and get it done. And I got it done before Shannon did. Shannon started it before I did. So, that just goes to
So
show you.
the last couple movies have been Moody movies, Shannon. So you're gonna have to come back for one of my movies next time.
Yeah. I thought I was that's what we talked about the last time was come back for
Hmm.
one of yours.
Well,
Right.
it gets to a point where we have to like do things, and I'm like, who can I grab? Okay, let's grab Shannon, or whatever, and it just happened to be mine. But yes, we will have to get a couple of yours, a couple of Paul's on there.
Either that, there's always a possibility if you have some time, come on down and check out the studio.
In Virginia, you're not too far away, you
Right.
know. So we always love having guests from other states come by and hang out and
Get some pizza. We'll pop in a few movies and it'll be a lot of fun.
we'll pay for you to have a hotel out there somewhere close by and you can come chill out with us. You know,
Okay.
you and bring Amanda so you guys can come together and everything. We would love that. You know, the more the merrier for us because, or the more the scarier. I don't know. I don't know.
I
That's
mean, we can
cheesy.
even watch a couple of real movies too, if you're interested.
Yeah, like good movies, not these movies. You know, she says real, I say good. Like there's a little bit of some difference in that, but yes. Thank you, Shannon. You're wonderful. And thank you, audience. Oh, Shannon, what have you been up to? So you got Sibylla 6. Is
We're in
that
post. We're in
you're in
post
post?
right now.
Okay.
So
Are you guys
Do you have a release date for that?
probably we're shooting for October.
Okay.
of 2026. That's what we're shooting for.
Great.
It was
Nice.
supposed to be October of 2025, but we had a few people had some family issues and stuff, and we had to delay a little bit. So,
Yeah, well, wonderful. So you're planning to are you planning to do a big premiere or anything like
yes.
that? Awesome.
Yes,
So
we are planning on doing a big premiere.
great. So
Then I
everybody,
have yours, Hellcast.
yeah, I'll watch
Guardian.
Guardians. Yeah, we
Yeah,
got
I'll
that.
watch. And then I have my first Slasher 15 film with Dave Kerr and Michael McGlynn in them.
Yeah, we love
A
them.
part in Uncle Fred's Monster Problem.
See, Michael McGlynn came down.
Yeah,
He hung
Mike.
out with
Well,
us
Michael lives a little closer. You know.
a little closer.
Yeah, he lives in actual Virginia, so we love Michael. He came down. He's planning to come down again. You know, like he enjoyed coming out and checking everything out. And that was his first time in our studio. He didn't come to the other one. So so we had another studio before the one we have now. But as everybody was pointing out, because we had our Christmas party on Sunday, people were pointing out we have our own place. You know, we it's not like we share a place like we used to. So we don't have any roommates. We can do whatever, come and go and do whatever what we please, you know. And anybody can scream as loud as they want.
We can eat as much pudding as we want.
Hmm. Wait, we don't ever eat pudding though.
I eat pudding.
Not there at the studio.
I do.
I've
I
never
got
seen you eat pudding.
I've got pudding sitting there waiting for me to eat it.
All right, whatever. Just make sure it doesn't look like that behind you.
That's later.
Oh, God. All right.
That's the
Anyway,
after pudding party.
I'm glad I'm not part of that. All right. Anyway, everybody, join us next week. Will be Paul's episode. So we've already recorded the two that are behind there. This is the last one of I think this is the last one of the month that we're doing. So that's good. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. We'll be back. And thank you, Shannon. We'll definitely have you come back this season to get one of Paul's episodes or one or two of Paul's. We'll see. You know,
Yeah, definitely.
Paul will have to spoil you with something. I don't know what.
I've got
You
stuff
never know.
lined up on Tubi, ready to go. Or like I said, if you come on down, I got plenty of DVD or slash Blu-ray stuff.
Hmm. We got plenty of stink for you. No, maybe something good. I don't know. Paul. It'll depend on Paul's mood.
I mean, if you come down, we can definitely do an episode of Forgotten Horror Classics where we might pull out a couple good ones. You know, talk about that. You
Okay,
know, as a filmmaker, I'm sure you'd be very interested in seeing some other work, right?
definitely.
Okay.
All right. Well, everybody, hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll be back soon. Till then, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Eh.